Warning, warning, warning. There will be spoilers for The Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 11, titled Metamorphosis. If you haven't seen it yet, proceed with caution. Before I begin, I have been getting some great comments to my videos. I want you all to know I value your opinions. And it isn't just to boost my channel, it's because we are all different and my thoughts on Star Wars are not the only ones that matter. So keep those comments coming. I do try to read them all and I try to respond to as many as I can. So thank you for engaging. This is a community, not an echo chamber for my own ego. Okay, the title of the latest episode of The Bad Batch had a lot of Star Wars fans speculating prior to its release. I just listened and enjoyed what everyone was saying. I didn't come up with my own ideas on it. I had some ideas, but I didn't voice them aloud. The single word metamorphosis could have applied to so many different situations in The Bad Batch. Was Crosshair finally going to realize the Empire was evil? Were the clones finally going to revolt and leave the Empire? Or was it going to show more of the transition of the Imperial military from one of the Republic clones to the iconic Stormtroopers? Okay, none of these were right. Instead, Star Wars fans, and especially fans of the Clone Wars, got a real treat. In fact, this arc began in 2010. Wow, it took 12 years and 11 months to finally show what happened. I'll get more into why that's troubling me in just a bit, but I've taken on a new mindset when it comes to The Bad Batch Season 2, and that new mindset has helped me enjoy it a little bit more. In the beginning of the season, I was a bit underwhelmed, but that was because I was expecting loose ends to be addressed right away, expecting more than what I should have been. If we look back at the Clone Wars, it took 12 years to finish the Clone Wars, wrapping it up with Season 7 in 2020, and that series is among one of my favorite animations of any genre. But if I go back and remember how frustrating it was to watch week to week, well, I think you get the point. Honestly, when I think about it, I think it's kind of interesting. 12 years to finish the Clone Wars. 12 years to continue the arc with the Zillo Beast. I've always found the recurring numbers in Star Wars fascinating. Look at A New Hope. George Lucas later changed the chronology of the film to Episode 4. Okay, Episode 4, Tantive 4, Yavin 4, Han, Luke, Leia, Chewbacca 4. Not that it means anything, I just find it interesting. But I got sidetracked again. Back to The Bad Batch. The Zillo Beast is back. Okay, a clone of the Zillo Beast is back. And what a wild ride this episode is. Now, I don't want to assume that this episode is deeper than what was shown to us. And I'll get to the I told you so moment in just a bit. But the title was aptly named, as we saw the metamorphosis of the Zillo Beast from how they look as young and what happens when they feed off energy. Hint, they grow. But at the same time, I don't want to sit here and ramble on about stuff that every other YouTuber has said about the latest episode of The Bad Batch, and I'm sure you don't want that either. So I'll try to do things a bit different. That means I won't do a recap of the episode. Instead, I'll talk about the deeper themes of the episode. But before I move forward, a quick word from our sponsor, me. Hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. I'm on a quest to hit 50,000 subscribers, and I'd like you all to be a part of that journey. I know you hear that from every other YouTube channel, but hey, this is freaking Star Wars, baby. Who doesn't love Star Wars? I know you do. And I promise to give you the best Star Wars has to offer in a positive way for as long as I make videos. In other words, I keeps it real for a very long time. With that said, let's move on with today's topic. To a lot of Star Wars fans, The Bad Batch has been slow-paced, boring, not moving the story forward fast enough. But think back to the Clone Wars. It was similar in pacing, a lot of side stories, and the series wasn't always dealing directly with the Clone Wars. But we love it, as we should. Now, I'll give the detractors the benefit of the doubt. There seemed to be a lot of side quests made by the Bad Batch that end the same way. Failure. and it's becoming repetitive, but I have a sneaky suspicion that this is for good reason. Yes, I was wrong about Sid being the one who had their ship, the Marauder, stolen. It happens. I took my lumps and made a video about how I was wrong. But these things happen with theories and speculations. How many Snoke theories were out there? How many theories about Rey's lineage? Most, if not all, were wrong. But I look at it as if, I'm just another Star Wars fan, like all of you. And I really am. But sometimes we're right. And even though this part of my theory was just a small part of it, I got some nasty words about it. I said that the Empire would be interested in Omega. I said that they would be looking for her. I was told no, the Empire doesn't care about another clone, and that the Bad Batch are becoming detached from the galaxy as a whole to live out their days away from the greater galactic struggles. That this show is called The Bad Batch, not Rebels. They are not dealing with the galaxy. Instead, they're leaving that up to Rex and Echo, hence the reason Echo left. And this may be true to a degree, that the Bad Batch may want this, but sometimes fate, destiny, kismet, or whatever you want to call it, has other plans. And with my theory being correct, the Empire's hunt for Omega is going to thrust the Bad Batch back into the fight against the Empire. And the Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 11 proves that point. And don't worry, I'm not gloating, but I am one who admits when I'm wrong and accepts the repercussions of that. But this time, I was right. And I'm also acknowledging that. And it's not to be saying it like, haha, I was right. No, it just makes sense for the story. Even though I was wrong about Sid being the mastermind behind the theft of the Marauder, she isn't totally off the hook. She left them stranded. When they addressed this with her, she blew them off. Then gave them another mission, and yet again, the Bad Batch accepted it. The mission was to liberate the cargo from a downed Imperial transport. We later realized that cargo is the Zillo Beast. Seriously? What is Sid doing with all these dangerous creatures she's collecting? First a Rancor, now a Zillo? Honestly, I wish they were successful this time so the Zillo could take Sid out. Boom, problem solved. But yet again, the Bad Batch fail in their mission to appease Sid. But what culminates in this episode is nothing less than amazing. A lot of Star Wars fans are saying this episode of The Bad Batch was even better than the premiere of The Mandalorian Season 3. I disagree with that, but I respect their opinions. There have been a lot of loose ends in the story arcs of The Bad Batch, and this episode brought some of those to the forefront. Cloning. It was a big arc in the first season, and other than calling themselves clones, the Bad Batch hasn't touched on the idea that cloning will continue under the Empire. Now we get confirmation that it's still part of the story, and it wasn't left to pick up in another spin-off. But I do think Dave Filoni is playing the long game with this, and that circles me back around to a previous thought. It took 12 years to finish the Clone Wars. Yes, I realize the Disney acquisition of Star Wars and all of Lucasfilm halted progress on the show, but up to that point, it had already taken 6 years, and they had at least another 2 seasons planned out. So that makes me worry that some of these arcs in The Bad Batch won't conclude for another 4 years. Okay, when I say it aloud like that, it doesn't seem that bad. But what if it takes another 10 years? It's just a question. I don't really think it'll take that long unless they make another spin-off. Like I said, I don't want to ramble on about the things every other YouTube channel has said. You've heard it. If I was the first one to upload a review of The Bad Batch Season 2 Episode 11, then I may have done a recap. But with that said, there are some things I will reiterate. The first being Clone Commando Scorch. It was awesome to see this guy again. The second being the Kaminoan cloners, Nala Se and Lama Su. Their appearances once again bridge the prequel trilogy, the Clone Wars series, and the Imperial era altogether. And that's something I'd like to see more of. Make all these shows and movies connected in some way. I'm not saying that Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker have to be that bridge. The way The Bad Batch is doing it works for me, using characters from the previous projects and show their fates, especially since we never heard of these characters from 1977 to 1983. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode of The Bad Batch, and not for some nostalgic reason like the Zillow Beast, although that was cool. No, I enjoyed it because it set up a lot for the future of the show. Sid will probably betray the Bad Batch, or at least sever ties with them since they failed yet again. The series has been set up to bring the Empire and the struggle the Bad Batch faces back into the foreground. And hopefully soon the Bad Batch will continue to move farther away from Sid until she's completely gone, and realize they are truly capable of what they are before the aging process takes its toll. And for those who say Omega isn't force sensitive for the sole reason that she's an unaltered clone of Jango Fett, you're right. She is unaltered in her DNA, but she is altered in her chromosomes. But a DNA match doesn't mean the Force can't manifest itself in her. DNA has nothing to do with Force sensitivity. Now, she may or may not be Force sensitive, and that's something I'm dealing with. Yeah, I know. It's sad. I'm leaning toward the possibility that she still is, though. But I've been wrong before, and I can be wrong again. But I'd really like to know in the comments what you think of this episode of The Bad Batch, the series as a whole, or if you thought it was better than The Mandalorian Season 3 premiere. It's petty, I know, but to me, The Mandalorian was slightly better for two reasons. The first, because it has a solid story. Always has. Yeah, the dialogue's a bit cheesy, but name something in Star Wars other than the Cassian Andor series that hasn't had cheesy dialogue. But the second reason is because, well, Mandalorians, and lots of them. It's my favorite Star Wars culture, and I like how much they are adding to the lore. But don't let me influence your opinion. I do value what you say. And before I go, a word from our sponsor, me. Hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. I'm on a journey to hit 50,000 subscribers, and I'd like you all to be a part of the next phase of this channel. Like I said in the beginning, this is a community, and I want to see this community grow for me and for you. And just another heads up, I may not post another video until Monday-ish. I have a doctor's appointment, then I'll be heading out of town for Gatlinburg, Tennessee for a couple days to get some fresh mountain air. So if you're in that area and you see my Star Wars Fanatic sticker on my car, wave. I'll wave back. Until the next video, this is Gerald, a Star Wars Fanatic, signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way, and positivity in the Star Wars fandom is the only way.